Okay, so in each one of these areas, you might start filling in, right? I need a functional steward for HR, functional questions. I need a technical steward for our human resources system, if there's questions around that. I need policy, who is going to manage the policy questions around the data here? Is that going to be the HR person, or do I have like a separate policy person that does everything? And you start filling that in, and you're going to see that you have gaps, right? Where you either, and depending on how you want to do this, your gaps could be, that you don't have a defined area within your organization for that, or maybe you don't even want to define that role until you know that there's a person you can put in there. But you sort of fill this in and see where there's gaps and where you know where you want to sign it out. Right. And then it gets into how generalized versus granular you want to set these things up on. And this is a difficult balance, I will say, right? If you might have a generalized just payroll data steward that might get kind of everything routed to them that might be associated with payroll data. Or as I mentioned before, you might have a functional data steward and a technical data steward, or you can get even more granular. You have a payroll data quality steward and a payroll, for each of the different systems. This is really going to depend on your organization, and it is also okay to have granularity in one area and not another, right? So you might have your HR system has, a lot of experts that are clearly defined and people that are really willing to go, and you want to like build out a very detailed thing. But in the, in your sales area, like, there's not a lot of clarity, and you might just say, all right, in the sales area, we just have this sort of one person, and they're going to be like the main point of contact, or maybe there's no one there, and that's just going to be handled by a triage person, and so you can kind of build that out. That's something you can do. So, balancing granularity versus generalization is important as you build this out. And this is, again, a point where you can achieve failure on either side. Either, you make it generalized, and then you have people assigned to this role who get asked to do things they're not capable of doing, or you have it so granular that you can't fill those roles, or people don't really understand what's supposed to happen. So if you're going to go granular, you have to, on both sides, you have to be pretty clear about what the responsibilities are. The pros and cons, having the other thing is that you can put more than one person in each of these roles. Like, you may have one or two people in these granular roles, but you might have 3 or 4 people in this role, right? So then if things get routed to that payroll data steward, basically anyone on that list could pick it up and take action on it possibly. And that's good in the sense that it helps to spread out that workload, but you do need some sort of mechanism with people understand, like, well, how do I know which one am I supposed to claim when I'm in here or whatever. That's usually not too difficult, but we recommend that you have more than one person because people go on vacation or whatever, and you want to have that support. All right, so that was sort of a kind of a deep dive here, but I want to go to one other thing before I move on to the next topic, which is that when you don't have a clear person or a clear steward role that you want to do, this is where you can fill in this gap with your triage or an oversight role, like, and so you can say, anything that falls in this gap is going to come to some sort of oversight team or first tier team, where we'll take those things, so nothing's going to fall through the cracks, and then they'll go try to find that expert or deal with it. It may be that when you start off, there's not going to be a lot of content in those areas, but if there is, you can tackle that.